Hi, thank you so much for joining our Timelapse Academy second session. So this is a session on LinkedIn ad strategy. I'm Olivia Roth, founder, CEO at Timelapse. So we had a session last month on social advertising for lead generation that kind of gave the bigger picture on how to use social media ad platforms for lead generation. Today we're focusing on LinkedIn exclusively, and next month, Lindsay Simpson, our senior marketing manager, is going to focus on Google Ads for you. So make sure you register to that as well. Um, we have an event chat, so if you have questions during the presentation or after, anytime after, really, you can join the chat. It's on your LinkedIn Live event page to the left. Just hit join chat, and you can send a message, a question, a comment, anything you'd like. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thanks for joining. Let's dive into it. So LinkedIn, by the numbers first, LinkedIn has now 750 million members, right? Over 200 countries. They claim to have 180 million senior level influencers and 10 million C-level executives. So if you're a B2B marketer, the question really isn't like, is my audience on LinkedIn? It's there. It's how to most effectively, use LinkedIn to reach them. Again, it's really preferred for B2B. So 92% of B2B marketers leverage LinkedIn over all other platforms. 79% of B2B marketers view LinkedIn as an effective source for generating B2B leads, and 46% of social media traffic coming to your company site comes from LinkedIn. And we see that a lot of times with our clients because we tend to focus on B2B companies. LinkedIn often comes at the top in terms of social media traffic. Even referral traffic in general, LinkedIn is going to be a strong source of qualified traffic to your website. Now, what are LinkedIn ads? So in a nutshell, LinkedIn provides a self-serve ad platform where you can feature a specific message or a piece of content to users on LinkedIn, right? And you can target them, and we'll go over the different targeting options, but you can choose to show a piece of content or an ad to someone who has a specific job title from a specific company, in a city, a state, a country, and you pay by click or per click. So a few definitions to make sure everybody has the same background. So CPC is cost per click. You want this to be low, and that's how much you pay on average for each click. On LinkedIn, for a single image ad, you pay $4 to $11. Typically, that's the range. That depends on your target audience. That depends on how narrow your target audience is, and it depends on your relevance score, which we'll go over in just a few slides. For an email, so you can feature, you can sponsor, like an email, um, and it costs 30 cents to $2. But it's not the same value as getting a click on an ad versus getting an email in someone's like LinkedIn inbox, obviously. So CPC, you want this to be low, and then click-through rate, CTR, you want this to be high. That's the percentage of people who click on the ad after viewing it. A typical percentage is 0.1 to 2%, 2% being really good, 0.1 being definitely on the lower side of things. Now, it matters to have highest relevance for your target audience because LinkedIn is going to calculate a relevance score. And you'll see the relevance score on the LinkedIn ad platform, and that's based on your engagement. So if you have an ad that people tend to ignore, you have a lower relevance score. If people click on it, like, share, comment, you have a higher relevance score. And LinkedIn is an RTB platform, so real-time bidding, and you have to understand there is a limited inventory of ads in a given day, right? And limited number of people or eyeballs that can be on your ad. So there is competition between the different advertisers and how they're bidding. So LinkedIn uses a second price auction mechanism. The winning ad, so that's the highest relevance score, will pay the minimum price in order to beat out other advertisers, right? So with a higher relevance score, your ad will be shown more often and you will pay less for it. The way the bidding works doesn't really matter to you or even to the users at all. It happens in the background, but the relevance score and being as relevant as possible in terms of your message and content is going to matter a lot in terms of like your cost per click and obviously your overall performance of the ad. LinkedIn is not a strategy, so obviously LinkedIn doesn't replace your whole marketing strategy. It's just a platform, right, for your branded content to reach your audience. So think of audience even more than platform, and think of this ABC that I went over last time. Just to reiterate, advertising is just a catalyst, right? So it doesn't replace strategy or anything else. Really, it's an accelerator, a catalyst to your branded content. So brand is the essence, your visual identity, the way you speak as a brand. So tone of voice, your messaging, your selling points, all of that is your brand, right? It needs to be defined before you even go into starting advertising campaigns. And content is going to be the vehicle. So your ads are, um, you know, coming sort of like as a catalyst of your brand and content. So make sure you have those things really like set in stone before spending a lot of money on like on ads and LinkedIn ads. Now, LinkedIn ads are also a part of a bigger plan, right? So if you look at this peso model, that's like a media or marketing mix model. Um, that's nice because it categorizes the different marketing tactics into four categories: paid, earned, shared, and owned, hence peso. And your LinkedIn ads are gonna fall in your online social media ads up here to the left, and obviously they're part of a much bigger plan, right? Ads and organic content should also work hand in hand. So your content that can be infographics, videos, statement of qualifications, um, industry reports, demo videos, white papers, and so on, um, is really like the vehicle, and needs to be created and before you even like start like ads. And then organic, so organic social media as opposed to paid um, social media acquisition means really like just posting on your LinkedIn and getting organically likes, share, comments, and so on. So a good way to think about it is to really start organically, to start posting, and maybe like using ads to feature more prominently what works really well organically. Um, it's free to post organic content obviously on like LinkedIn and other platforms, and so that's what I mean by ads and organic. um, Posting should work hand in hand. um, you kind of want to test the messaging organically before you spend a lot of money on like on ads. Now when you start, the first question is what are your objectives, what are you trying to do? And if you look at the first page of like a new campaign on the LinkedIn ads campaign manager, and to start an account, it's very easy. Just go to linkedin.com/ads, and when you start an account, start a new campaign, the first really question is like, what are your objectives? Is it awareness? Are you trying to get a lot of like people to know your brand and that you exist in this particular space you're in? Is it consideration? Are you trying to get like people to engage with your content, just like visit your website, read a blog, view a video? Or is it conversion? Are you trying to either sell or sign up people for a free trial, generate leads, maybe generate like applicants for a job? So those type of objectives are going to define which um, you know KPIs, key performance indicators you're going to look at, and also like the types of ads you're going to choose. So a few ad types to know are carousel ads. Carousel ads are great because they are a nice experience and you can feature multiple parts of the system. You can tell a story with like multiple vignettes. Um, Conversation ads are going to be more of a chatbot type of ad where you'll see um, a question, for example, and then like the recipient can select like between two or three answers and so on. So this can create like a choose your own path experience directly on someone's LinkedIn inbox. Lead gen forms are pretty cool because when you click on the ad from the news feed, if it's a lead gen form will pop up, in a pop-up on top of the LinkedIn page. And for example, to download a white paper or to sign up for a beta or an event, the information will be pre-filled because everybody's logged in on LinkedIn. You'll have a pre-filled form, and so it makes it really easy for someone to, you know, provide their information, and it lowers really like the friction, I guess, to for someone to take the action. So a good way to something to test. Message ads are your traditional email ads I was mentioning earlier, and then single image ads are also your more traditional like in-feed ads. Now there are video ads as well. So instead of like a single image ads, you have video ads, and video ads are really hot. In the LinkedIn feed, they earn 30% more comments per impression than non-video ads. And if you look at the different types of videos, so whether it's like a product, service, feature, or demo, a thought leadership video, a brand or talent story, a case study video, even promo or coverage, or an offer, um, you have a variation in performance. So the blue bar is your view through rate. That's the percentage of people who complete the video 100%. The engagement can be a like, a comment, or a share, or a click, and then the click-through rate is only clicks to another page or website. So you can see that for a product, service, feature, or demo, you get like a higher engagement and a higher click-through rate. But for a brand or talent story, you're gonna get a lot of like view-through rate. So people are, it's more like inspirational video, maybe with like a bigger message behind it. This is gonna get watched more, but maybe clicked on less. So consider, what are your objectives? What's the content you're featuring? Can you create a video based on that? And this will give you an indication of like the type of performance you can expect. Now we have your objectives. You've thought about like which content type you're going to use. Who are you targeting is the next big question. So there are two ways to target on LinkedIn: by contact, and I'll go over the different like contact targeting options that are rather powerful on LinkedIn, and matched audiences. So LinkedIn calls matched audiences really like audiences that you upload or that you track on your website with a tracking code for retargeting. So you will serve ads to people who have been on your website but may have not taken a conversion, for example. You will retarget them with a matched audience on LinkedIn. But the most common type is going to be contact targeting, and the contact targeting options are really pretty interesting on LinkedIn because first of all, like people keep their LinkedIn rather up to date on general, as opposed to your job title on Facebook or another platform. LinkedIn is, because it's job related, the job title and the companies are rather up to date. So you can target people by, again, job title. So director of marketing with 12 years of experience, for example, degree of education, demographics, company, interests. So you can target director of marketing in a list of companies that are your, target companies that you've put together with your sales department, that are members of a specific group. So you can really hyper target, have laser focus targeting with those options. An example here for a client of ours, and every time you update the audience, LinkedIn will provide the audience size of how many people are in the audience, and I would make sure to be above like 3,000, 4,000 people for each audience. In this case, we have 9,100 people or more in the US with one of those job titles in one of those companies. So a very effective way to get a message to, specific group of people in specific geography or specific companies. Now, how to create an ad. So Um, I'll just give you an example of like our workflow for a single image ad. So we really dissociate like the copy and the design phase. Obviously, before we go into like creating an ad, we have a brand guideline, we have a visual system. All of those things should be predefined, like I said earlier. And then the copy is really broken down in the different components of an ad. So for a single image ad, there is like the body that's going to be just above the image. You can have copy in the image, so there's no limitation in terms of like amount of copy that you can have in the image. I would keep it like rather visual and a low amount of copy, but you can have text on the image. And then the call to action that's just under your ad can also be customized. So we start with, okay, what's the target audience? We have that. What are the objectives? And then like what's the message? And you know, write copy concepts. So for a given campaign, we typically would create like 10 to 15 ads. And once the copy, the message, the concept of the ad is approved, we go into the design, right? And this is approved, we upload to LinkedIn and start testing. Now let's talk about budget. So as far as like your time frames when you start LinkedIn ads, the first 2 to 4 weeks are typically considered learning. So you're going to be figuring out what works or doesn't work. And LinkedIn recommends a daily budget of at least $100 or a monthly budget of $5,000. We recommend at least $2,000 per month. That will give you a good indication of performance. You'll see if the ads are resonating with your target audience. Are they clicking? Are they viewing video? What's the view through rates and things like that? This is not statistically significant. In order to have statistical significance, you'd have to have like a lot bigger budget and a lot more impressions and clicks. But it gives you a really good indication in 1 month of running, a $2,000 budget. Obviously, this is done for testing and to project. Where would you get with a $10,000 budget? Where would you get with a $20,000 budget? And make sure you test and iterate, before you spend the big bucks. Now, measuring, as I said, is key. If you're not measuring your marketing, so I would set up a weekly tracker. Obviously, you can use like the LinkedIn Campaign Manager dashboard, but I like to have like a weekly tracker on the side on Google Doc just to track your KPIs. And so whether there are like impressions or clicks or conversions. And then A/B test. So obviously like A/B testing applies to LinkedIn ads too. And the way we do it is adding new ad variations and removing underperforming ones. So kind of like keep a rotation, and you can update them every other week, every month or every quarter, depending on your, the size of your team, your budget. But it's good to remove, the less performing ads and add new ads in the mix. And so with that kind of like technique, you'll be, gradually, iteratively improving the performance of your ad. I just let the data speak and not really try to infer like what people are thinking about the ad, because the data really like will speak for itself. Will very subjective, I think, in like looking at like copy and design and things like that. There are some objectives part to it, but really like relying on the data, say what works, what doesn't, is like a long term, best practice for success. And then I would start with the content, as I said earlier, and the message, and then like iterate on the visuals, maybe try different photo, try different persona, things like that. Make sure you have your audience and your message aligned before you really like iterate on like the visuals and too much. And then optimize for your CPA, not CPC, so cost per acquisition, especially if you're trying to have people sign up for a free trial or some sort of acquisition event. What matters the most is like what's the final cost per acquisition, not the cost per click, because you may have a very low cost per click. Everybody loves the ad and is clicking on it, but then nothing happens on the website. So you want to optimize for CPA, not CPC, and compare with other ad platforms, right? So what's the CPA on LinkedIn versus the CPA on Facebook, and if it's like much lower on Facebook, then you may want to move over some of the budget, to Facebook or to another platform, or even to like a non-paid um, marketing tactic. A quick recap to wrap this up. So, um, first question is, how does LinkedIn ads fit in your bigger ad and marketing plan? And then define your objectives. What are you trying to achieve? What does success look like? Who's your target audience? Then you can choose your targeting and different ad types, and then figure out the messaging, the content, optimize the visuals next, and keep measuring, keep iterating to reach your objectives. Thank you. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time.